So first thing we're gonna do today is logical operators. Basically, I'm sure most of you know what these are. You just probably haven't heard them being referred to as logical operators. So basically, greater than, less than, and equal to are basically they're what you use to. They're often used in like if statements, which we'll talk about later. So that's why we're teaching them now. So when you're comparing two things, you're going to use these logical operators, and I'm sure you know what most of these are. Greater than is for greater than. When you do greater than an equal sign, it's greater than or equal to. And same thing for less than. The only thing that you might have trouble with is equal to. It's a double equal sign. So make sure that you don't use a single equal sign, because when you use a single equal sign, you're basically assigning something to assigning the thing on the left of the equal sign to the thing on the right of the equal sign.
Yeah, guys. So just make sure. So
Yeah,
one, so
equal
single,
one. Well, yeah, one equal sign is for setting a variable equal to something.
two
Two
equal
equal.
signs is for comparisons. Okay.
Yes. So
Yes.
just remember, whenever you use comparing two things and you want to see if they're equal to each other, make sure to use two equal signs. If you want to assign a value to something on the left, that's when you use a single equal sign. It's gonna get a little confusing, and I'm sure so if you find any problems in your code, just try and check and see whenever you're using equal to, see if oh, maybe if I change it this single equal sign to a double equal sign, maybe it'll fix itself. So it's always good to take a look at that. As you can see, there's some examples here. It's printing 2 is greater than 2 for the first one. We all know that's not true, so it's going to print false. And it does the same thing for the rest of them. Like, it evaluates whether what's inside of the parentheses is true or not, and it prints whether it's true or false. So it returns a Boolean. So logical operators, when you evaluate them, they return a Boolean value. So yeah.
And make sure the equal sign is after the greater than or equal or less than.
Ah, yes, you can't have it before.
Yes, if you want it to be greater than or equal or less than and equal to or equal to
You can combine various logical operators together by placing and or between them. And basically, when you have and, you have to make sure that the two things that you're comparing on the left and the right of the ends of the and keyword, you have to make sure they're both true. Otherwise, if one of them is false, it can be the one on the left or the one on the right. It'll always evaluate to false. Now, if you have or in between these two, only one of these two, one of the ones on the left and the right have to be true. If one of them is true, then it's fine, because think about it. You can have I need apples or oranges, right? If you give me an apples, I'm fine. But if I need apples and oranges, if you give me just an apple, if you give me just apples, that's not fulfilling my requirements. So as you can, and then finally, another thing we're talking about is not. The not keyword basically makes the opposite of what you have. So if a value is true, if you write not true, it'll make the value false, basically. It's pretty straightforward in terms of that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can look at the examples we have. So it's just basically just going more in depth about what I talked about.
So what would this print out, guys? True, yes.
Yep.
This 5 is greater than 3, so this is true. And then if we did 3 is greater than 5, this would be false. And then 3 is equals 3. This would be true. Right? So this is true, or this would be, it's capital T. Boolean is always capital T, or capital. The first letter of a Boolean is always capitalized in Python. So there are like 5 base operators. So there's there's greater than, there's less than, and then you can do or equal to for both of these. You can do greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. Then you can do equal to, just equal to. And then you can combine a Boolean expression, which is this is a Boolean expression. You can combine these statements with other statements. So if 3 is greater than 5, or 5 is greater than 3, or if 3 is less than 5, or 5 is less than 3, what would this print out? Can anyone guess what this would print out? Yeah, this would be true.
Yep. Correct.
Because this is true and this is false. So if we're saying true or false, so and true and or is true if one of the sides is true. If this was and, what would this print out? False. Yes, it would be false. And now, okay, now what would
Just give them one more big example.
what would this be? 3 is less than 5, or 3 is less than 5, and not 5 is less than 3. Yes, this would be true, because we're saying true and not false. So not false is true, right? So we're saying true, and since both of them are true, this entire thing is true. Oh, and another thing I might want to show you, it will be helpful for us later on today. We can also do these operators don't have to be restricted to just 2 values. We can do 3 is equal to 3 is equal to 3. And this would be true. So, and we can also do, we can do 4 is greater than 4, or is greater than 3, is greater than 2, and this would be true. So it's not just restricted to 2 numbers. It is that way in Python in Java. So that is the difference between Python and Java.
If you were to do it in Java, you'd need parentheses.
If you wanted to do this in Java, you would have to do if 4 is greater than 3 and 3 is greater than 2.
Yeah.
But Python just saves it, makes it easier for you by just letting you do this.